Hello and welcome. My name is Michelle. I am your emotional resilience coach, and today we are going to be talking about the red flag of those who play the game hot and cold. So of all the relationships that I have been in, I think for me, this is the one that triggers me the most. It does not matter how fun, exciting, lovable, charismatic, understanding, accepting the person may be. If they play hot and cold with you, this relationship is just going to deteriorate. And you are going to be left feeling confused, overwhelmed, spinning in your pain, in your trauma, in your triggers, and it is an absolute no-no, especially for us who suffer from CPTSD. If you are a fawn or a codependent and you know somebody in your life who happens to play hot and cold with you, you need either serious boundaries or you need to cut ties entirely and leave. That choice is obviously up to you. For me personally, I cut ties. I can't play those sort of games. So what does this actually look like? So when things are going well and happy and the other person is, enjoying life with you, things are going their way, things are strong, things are happening, they are incredible, they are amazing, they are accepting, they feel that you kind of feel like you're bonded with each other, you understand each other, you get each other, and things are great. And then as soon as things are not going their way, or you're not showing up the way they want you to or expect you, or you're not being the person that they think you should be or need be, or you're not filling a need that they have, then what happens is they punish you. And this can look like the cold shoulder. This could look like ill treatment. This could look like unkindness, mean-spiritedness, snapping at you, biting at you, or rejecting you, giving you the silent treatment, not telling you what it is that you've done wrong. You've got to guess what it is. And in your process of trying to guess what it is, you were spinning, you were floundering, you were trying to make things right. You are walking on eggshells, you are on your best behavior, you're asking questions, you're going out of your way to do nice things, say nice things, try and prove to this person that you are worthy of love and acceptance, and you don't have to do that. You are already worthy of love and acceptance. If this person is playing games with you, if they're not willing to communicate, if they're not willing to tell you what it is that's going on, if they're not willing to tell you what need it is that they feel that is lacking in their lives right now, maybe you can help, maybe you can't help, if they're just not willing to meet you halfway, and if they are going to treat you poorly and you're going to run after them trying to make it better, you have set yourself up to always do that. For the rest of this relationship, the power is going to be in their hands. They are going to get to know you better. They're going to know your buttons. They're going to know where and how they can push it. They're going to know what they can do to hurt you. And yes, they will use it against you. If they feel cornered, if they feel trapped, if they feel that they don't know what more to say or do to get their needs met, they will go to those places you would not even think of to hurt you, to punish you, so that they can get their own way. So before you go down these relationships with people, going into it, if you see, and normally you can see in the beginning, hot and cold. The cold can sometimes look sulky, withdrawn, withholding affection, withholding love, withholding conversation from you for an extended period of time. Now, when all of us are upset, we do tend to withdraw a little bit, and we do tend to want to have a little bit of time just to sort out our thoughts and our emotions before we engage. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about for an extended period of time. You've come to them and you've tried to communicate, you've tried to get to a meeting of minds, you've tried to get a conversation going, and they're just not prepared to meet you there. They are punishing you. And what this does in this punishment is it makes you go back to when you were a child, and you're not a child anymore. And you feel that same fear that you felt as a child. Not that you are perhaps doing something wrong, but that somehow intrinsically you are wrong. And this makes you spin in so much self-doubt and so much pain and so much shame. And shame makes you want to hide. And so you hide. You don't know what to say. You become very nervous. You walk on eggshells, and you're waiting for the other shoe to drop. You're waiting for the extreme punishment. It is so much better to have a conversation, even if it is going to be a little bit heated, a little bit intense, than have absolutely nothing. Evidence has shown that the silent treatment, the cold shoulder, triggers the sense of abandonment and rejection in a person, and that fear comes up for them. If a person is in a dialogue, at least there is some sort of connection still going on. Even if there is a bit of disconnect and you're not quite meeting each other, there is still dialogue. Obviously, in extreme cases, it doesn't work. If this conversation is abusive, if this conversation is dysfunctional, then you do need to set a boundary and walk away until both parties are calm. If this never resolves to a calm state, you want to obviously cut ties entirely. You've got to find the balance in your relationship with yourself and with people. What happens is that when you are feeling punished, you have this heightened sense of criticism within yourself, and you're expecting it from other people. So you're very, very sensitive to what anybody says to you. You're very sensitive to even a look. You feel that a look is a judgment, that it is a criticism, because you are feeling like a child and that you are being punished because somehow you feel that you are not good enough, or that person feels that their needs are not being met and that it is your responsibility. It's not your responsibility to meet their needs. It's their responsibility to meet their own needs. Your responsibility to have a conversation with them and see where you are willing to meet, what it is you're willing to do. Another thing to watch out for in these scenarios is when you are being dehumanized. And what I mean by that is the longer a person has no contact with you, and the longer a person is allowed to stew and believe and convince themselves that everything is your fault, they create you to look like some sort of monster, some sort of villain in their head. And the worse they can make you look, they justify themselves in treating you badly. They justify themselves in saying, it's okay that I said this, that I did this, that I showed up this way. They deserved it because. Can you see how we're all falling into our childhood wounds, and as adults we are showing up as children? So be careful that that does not happen in your relationship, that they do not be allowed the space to dehumanize you, to make you feel that you are nothing. If they're doing that, this is because this is what is going on in their heads. This is a really good indicator of where your relationship is at. You need to remind them of your worth, because you need to know and understand your worth. You need to remind them that you're a human being, you're deserving of respect, you're deserving of better treatment, you're deserving of compassion, you're deserving at least at the very minimum of civility, where you can have an open dialogue. If they are not prepared to do that, you need to get out of that situation, because it's just going to continue to deteriorate. So be aware. Let it be a red flag for you. It is a red flag for me. It is something that I no longer excuse, I no longer ignore, and I no longer get into a relationship with people who use hot and cold. 1 minute they love you, adore you, build you up, tell you the most wonderful, fantastic person in the world, and then the next minute they are either breaking you apart, or they are ignoring you, giving you the cold shoulder, and treating you like you are nothing. You are something. You are enough. You are lovable. If this resonates with you, please do hit like, subscribe, the notifications button, and have a most empowering day where you just take that one extra step in having your back.